Hello everybody, I'm Tim Blair, and it's time for this week's edition of the Clay County Times-Democrat Weekly Web Update. This is the June 5th edition for 2013, brought to you by the good folks at Piggott State Bank, member of the FDIC, and an equal housing lender. Well, if you saw last week's video update, it was actually on Sunday morning, just a few days ago. That was shot from the east side of Piggott, on the southeast side out at Pfeiffer Field, which is the radio control park. And at that time, it was underwater. Now, a lot of that rain has receded. A lot of that water has receded since then, but that forced some changes to the RC Club's fly-in that they had planned for this past weekend. They did fly some on Sunday. Saturday, a complete washout. If you had outdoor plans, you know what I mean. But they did fly some of the guys down at the Piggott Airport on Sunday, and we'll have a story on that coming up in the June 12th edition of the Clay County Times-Democrat. Well, this week we come to you from the other side of Crowley's Ridge. We're west of Crowley's Ridge in the Cache River bottoms, not too far south from the Missouri state line, as we're here between rice fields. Now, this rice field over here doing fairly good. There are some areas down on this end that are still coming up kind of slow, but they've had pretty good emergence. The rice field to the north of me, not quite so good. In fact, there's some areas here look like they're preparing to replant that, as that was either planted very early or washed out on them. We're located here in the Cache River bottoms. The Cache River's over that way. Crowley's Ridge directly behind me. You can see the tree line back there. That's Crowley's Ridge. We're out here to talk a little bit about the folks that lived here before. And if you follow the history of the region, you might know that this area has been occupied for literally thousands of years, dating back to even the Paleo. More than 7,000 years ago, the Paleo period, man occupied this area. The Cache River bottoms since been channelized and the Cache Drainage District established. This was just basically a great area for man. There was abundant wildlife, fishing, water, everything that they needed here to exist. They could go up on Crowley's Ridge, bring down chert and other materials to make their Indian artifacts from. And this area has had an abundant number of Indian artifacts found out here. This field, when it was leveled in 2009, literally hundreds of artifacts have come out of there. Most of those are later period, some archaic, but more in the Mississippian era. But a lot of great things, from grinding stones and bowls to all kinds of scrapers and knives and arrowheads, and some that are obviously used for fishing, since this was right on the Cache River. But this has been a great area for that. If you're a fan of going out and hunting for artifacts, we're about out of the season right now, because once the crops are in the field, the crops start up, that's the time to leave them alone. It's really the late fall, winter time when you can, and early spring, where the fields are worked up, and all you need to do is wait for a good rain, get out there and look around, look for some of that basically, when you see it, you'll know it. But the flint rocks really shine, and you can have some fun with that. If you're not so much into getting out and looking for artifacts, but would like to check out some great ones, there are a couple of museums around that have excellent displays. Now, of course, the Arkansas State University Museum at Jonesboro, they have a great display. They have a lot of artifacts from, especially on down in that area, which is also rich with Native Americans living there for thousands of years. You can check that out if you're in the Piggott area or coming to the Piggott area. The Matilda and Carl Pfeiffer Museum and Education Center, and Study Center rather, has a great collection. Most of those coming from the late Laws Cargill. He donated his entire collection, many of which he found hunting these fields and on the other side of the ridge, others that he had purchased. Mr. Pfeiffer also purchased a lot of Indian artifacts over the years, and a lot of those are included as well. That's all available at the Matilda and Carl Pfeiffer Museum here in Piggott. You can stop by there. They're open every day but Sunday and Monday. You can stop by and check that out, and they also will tell you more about what they know about it. They've just opened up a new case, has some new items, so if you've been in the past and checked out the great Hardens and Daltons and bowls and such that they had on display, they've opened up another display case, and even a few more items are out, and they'll be adding more as they go along, because they literally have thousands of items, as these old fields out here around northeast Arkansas have given up a lot of great artifacts over the years. And the great thing is that they were saved from the plow, because if you've ever walked out in a field and found a really nice museum piece quality item that has been broken by the plow, it's a little heartbreaking. But you can get out there and save them from that, and keep those things for posterity. That's a great thing you can do. And of course, not every area in the country has this type of land available where you can actually go out and find such artifacts. So we're very fortunate in that manner. Well, we'd like to remind you to pick up a copy of this week's edition of the Clay County Times-Democrat. A lot of great stories in there. We've got a feature on Terry Burden. Now, Terry, of course, Arkansas State Police Trooper from the Rector area. He just received his second life-saving award. That is great. Terry Burden featured. Ryan Rogers has the story. It's on the front page of this week's print edition. Also may be found on the website here. Also have a story coming up on the big activity down at the Rector Community Center this weekend. They have a big show coming up Saturday night. The Clay County Arts Council, they'll be honoring Demetra Schultz for a lifetime of support of the arts in Clay County. You can still go down to that. More information on that on our front page of the Clay County Times-Democrat. We also have the details about a bike tour that will be coming through the last week of June. Now, the Hemingway Pfeiffer Museum and Educational Center is the host location here in Piggott. The tour is going to originate up at Sykeston. They'll be making their way down through Malden. They'll come to Piggott, spend the night here in the Piggott area. Then the next day, some of them are going to be, the salty ones are going to head on out, catch 141 and take the scenic byway down through the ridge that way. The others that want the flat route will go straight on down to Paragould where they'll meet. They actually will make their way all the way over to Reelfoot Lake before finally ending up back at Sykeston. It's about a week-long tour. We've got all the details on the front page of this week's edition of the Clay County Times-Democrat. So pick up a copy. You can also check that out here on our website as well. Also to be found in this week's paper, a great story on Huey and Mary Lynham. They're celebrating their 75th wedding anniversary. We've got a little write-up on them. Some folks from down in the Rector area think you'll enjoy that story as well. Also got a couple of reminders for you. We will have another edition of the Delta Crossroads coming out a little bit later this month. Keep your eyes open for that. And we also have the Delta Voice. The Delta Voice is a sister publication. It's available all the way from up around Advance, Missouri to down around Mark Tree, Arkansas, all points in between. Got a lot of great features, information, ads, and stuff. You need to stop by and pick it up. They're on newsstands all across the areas and also at all of our sister newspaper locations. You can pick up a copy of the Delta Voice and also stop by the store here in Piggott or the other locations around the region. Sign up. You could win $300 cash. We'll have another drawing coming up very soon on that. The Delta Voice is out there. We encourage you to pick up a copy of that. We're going to take a short break and go around and look at some of the crops that we have around the region here. Take a look at some of the fields, just give you a little idea about how things are looking here the first full week of June. And of course, the meteorologists consider it the first full week of summer, though that won't come around until later this month, according to the equinox. But let's check out some of those and be right back with you. As you can see, quite a bit of difference from some of the areas. I don't think that irrigated corn up there is going to need much irrigation. But the rice, again, having to replant some over on this side of the road where I'm at. This side's emergence is pretty good. And again, the farmers very busy trying to battle in between rainstorms and so forth. We were very fortunate. We were actually supposed to be having rain pretty much this morning, and right now, though we have a few clouds around the region, the majority of that has stayed well to the south of our immediate area. Well, with that, we wrap up another edition of the Clay County Times-Democrat Weekly Web Update. It's brought to you each week right here on cctimesdemocrat.com by the good folks of Piggott State Bank. And until next time, I'm Tim Blair. Have a good week.